want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that.
Political debates have become arenas where logic often clashes with rigid ideologies. Recently, Bill Maher challenged Whoopi Goldberg's views with his trademark humor and directness. This wasn't just another celebrity dispute, but a reminder to those clinging to narratives that fall apart under scrutiny.
Understand that part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking.
Bill Maher has built a reputation for questioning both sides of the political spectrum. However, his recent exchange with Whoopi Goldberg escalated the debate. As Whoopi defended her stance with typical progressive rhetoric from The View Maher countered with hard facts, exposing contradictions that put her on the defensive. The exchange highlighted how disconnected elite liberal viewpoints have become from the real-life challenges faced by everyday Americans.
You know, I watch your show all the time, so I know that you're a comic, but you basically go after Trump and Biden. You know, both of them. And a lot of people are not happy with you about that. Well, not equally, because you know that Trump is doing more dangerous.
Of course. I mean, I don't think anybody was more out front on that danger than I was.
Before diving into the debate, it's crucial to understand the key figures. Whoopi Goldberg, a staunch liberal, often dismisses criticism of the left as right-wing propaganda. In contrast, Bill Maher, a traditional liberal who rejects rigid labels, sets the stage for an engaging showdown with their differing perspectives fueling the clash.
I was talking about how he was never going to give up power. Long ago, when everybody was laughing at me and said, "You smoke too much pot," and I said, "I smoke just the right amount of pot." Finally, I was using the term slow-moving coup before he was elected the first time.
That's right.
I said, this guy is never going to concede power. It's impossible to imagine him going, "Oh, I lost."
The confrontation began when Whoopi dismissed concerns about crime, the economy, and working-class struggles. Bill Maher quickly countered, emphasizing that issues like inflation and personal safety affect real people far more than symbolic activism. Instead of directly addressing Maher's points, Whoopi deflected with vague responses, avoiding the heart of the matter. Rather than engaging with the facts Maher presented, she relied on outdated talking points about economic policies that seemed increasingly
About saying anything against Biden, because I feel, not that I have so much power, and you have some more than I do, obviously, but
I don't know about that.
Are you afraid that you might, influence the people who are on the fence?
I think you lose all credibility.
Maher, never one to let weak arguments slide, highlighted a critical contradiction in Whoopi's stance. He pointed out that many white liberals claim to champion marginalized communities while overlooking their actual concerns. Polls consistently show Black and Hispanic voters prioritize economic stability and crime over ideological debates. Whoopi's refusal to acknowledge this disconnect only underscored the flaws in her argument, further weakening her position.
My bond with my audience has always been I don't pull a punch.
Yeah.
My bond with my audience is you're not going to like everything I say, but you know I'm saying what I really think is true.
Right.
That's. Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
The turning point came when Maher shifted the focus to political hypocrisy, highlighting Hunter Biden's controversies. He pointed out how Democrats, who advocate for accountability, remain silent when one of their own is involved in a scandal. Whoopi, clearly uncomfortable, tried to downplay Biden's actions, claiming they were exaggerated. Maher wasn't about to let her evade the issue so easily.
It doesn't present that way. You look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old. Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech. I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver-like.
But his brain is good. He's still great.
Well, here's what I said. Like, when I came back after the strike in September, I said, he should get out.
Maher reminded the audience of President Biden's own words, asserting that no one is above the law, just before granting a pardon to his son. This stark double standard, Maher argued, is why so many Americans are disillusioned with the political system. If rules only apply when convenient, they aren't rules at all. Whoopi's defense faltered, unable to counter Maher's powerful logic.
I mean, a conservative once said to me, what you guys in the liberal side of it don't get about Donald Trump is we don't like him either.
Yeah.
It's just that in this country, it's binary. I mean, gender may not be binary, but politics is. You only get two choices. And the stuff that they are afraid of, they see Donald Trump as a bulwark against.
As the conversation intensified, Maher criticized the media for shaping public perception, calling out mainstream outlets for suppressing the Hunter Biden story before the election. He accused them of prioritizing narrative control over journalistic integrity. Instead of addressing Maher's evidence, Whoopi dismissed his argument as a right-wing conspiracy theory.
Buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
Armed with facts, Maher reminded Whoopi that even left-leaning journalists admitted Hunter Biden's story was deliberately suppressed for political reasons. He argued this exemplifies the real danger of woke ideology, prioritizing narrative control over truth and justice. Whoopi had no solid rebuttal, opting instead to change the subject and avoid addressing Maher's points.
Obama had her over to the White House, like in 2013, to hint, hey, spend more time with the grandkids. That would not be a good idea, Ruth. And she didn't take the hint, and she was not in good health, and she stayed too long, and she ruined her legacy, and got the Supreme Court now to be a pretty right-wing organization. Said Biden shouldn't do that, but, ego, he's Dracula. He has crossed oceans of time to be here, and he's not going to give it up now.
The conversation took a broader turn as Maher criticized the progressive movement for creating an environment where questioning their beliefs is seen as hostility. He pointed out that working-class Americans, the very people progressives claim to represent, aren't buying into the extreme narratives pushed by media elites. Instead of acknowledging this, Whoopi dismissed valid concerns as right-wing rhetoric. Maher then shifted focus to the changing political landscape, explaining how the Democratic Party's sharp leftward shift has alienated key voter demographics, including Black and Hispanic Americans. Polls show these communities tend to be more patriotic, supportive of law enforcement, and less tolerant of unchecked illegal immigration than white progressives. Yet Democrats continue catering to elite activists rather than addressing the real concerns of these communities.
It's like my kid is coming home from school and they're not allowed to tell me if they're transitioning. The school is going to take the side of the kid over the parent. Stuff like that. There is a lot of crazy stuff on the left. This book, there's stuff that each side is going to like and probably stuff they're not going to like so much in there.
Throughout the debate, Whoopi Goldberg struggled to defend her positions when confronted with Maher's fact-based arguments. Instead of addressing his points directly, she repeatedly resorted to vague talking points, emotional appeals, and deflection. This is a common issue within the woke movement, where narratives often depend more on ideological commitment than objective reality. A key moment occurred when Maher pressed Whoopi on the genuine concerns of Black and Hispanic Americans. Instead of acknowledging that these communities prioritize economic stability and public safety over progressive activism, Whoopi attempted to shift the conversation to unrelated topics. This revealed a core weakness in woke politics: the inability to confront inconvenient truths when ideological beliefs are challenged. Figures like Whoopi often rely on changing the subject rather than engaging with the actual argument.
You used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bashed. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustice.
With her arguments dismantled, Whoopi resorted to playing the victim, accusing Maher of misrepresenting her views and making her look bad. However, Ma wasn't distorting anything. He was simply holding up a mirror, and Whoopi didn't like what she saw, unable to respond with facts.
Say that we should put the swastika on the cap because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree with me? How dare you?
Maher's takedown was especially impactful because, as a lifelong liberal, he had the credibility to challenge the excesses of the progressive movement. His refusal to conform to ideological purity tests has made him an outsider in some circles, but it has earned him respect from those who value critical thinking and honest debate.
The answer to the Donald Trump situation is what's going to get him elected is this woke stuff that a lot of people in this country just don't go for.
Well, one thing that I break with is that you can disagree on candidates, but when one talks about literally upending the entire democracy, that's my heart out. Like, there's not an equal comparison.
The most brutal aspect of Maher's critique was his calm precision in dismantling Whoopi's arguments one by one, leaving her with no defense. Whoopi, visibly shaken, could only resort to vague rebuttals that did nothing to restore her credibility. Ultimately, the debate transcended Whoopi Goldberg. It mirrored a larger shift in American politics, where more people are seeing through the double standards and contradictions within the woke movement. Ma, once a liberal icon, has become one of its fiercest critics, not because he changed, but because the movement abandoned its core principles.